There are less than 30 hours left in the year 2020, a year of turmoil and tragedy, and also a year that saw remarkable change.
12 News' Walt Grayson takes us through the moments we won't forget.
They say rain on a wedding day is good luck, but perhaps the storm that blew into Jackson on Inauguration Day in January of 2020 was a harbinger of things to come. Even before taking office, Governor Tate Reeves was already staring at a crisis in the state's prison system. Mississippi prisons have long been notorious, but 30 inmate deaths in nearly 3 months, forced action, and a shakeup in the system. Burl Cain brought his record of success in Louisiana, and also a checkered past, to run the Mississippi Department of Corrections. Not the only agency in crisis, as an audit uncovered the largest public embezzlement case in state history at the Mississippi Department of Human Services. Millions of dollars that were supposed to go to needy families redirected. The scandal rocked the halls of state government, leading to 6 arrests. But the biggest story of the year came from something so small you couldn't even see it with the naked eye. At the start of the year, we started hearing the news out of China, a virus spreading rapidly, infecting thousands. The coronavirus, it was called. And we came to know it officially as COVID-19. And from China, it spread to the heart of Europe. Spain and Italy went on lockdown first. Other European countries followed. But to many of us, it was still far, far away. There were other stories that had our attention. In the Jackson area, in mid-February, everyone was watching the Pearl River rising. Record flooding was on the way. Would the reservoir and the spillway be able to keep it in place? Several neighborhoods flooded, several homes damaged. But the feeling was it could have been much worse. The 2020 elections were going on. Former VP Joe Biden wins Mississippi's Democratic primary as he was rolling to the nomination. Mike Espy and Cindy Hyde-Smith were lined up for a Senate race rematch, but all that would have to wait. In mid-March, the world as we knew it changed forever. COVID-19 clusters had been impacting the Pacific Northwest in New York. On March 11th, it officially arrived in Mississippi. A Forest County man is the state's first patient. Lockdown sweep the country. Restaurants, bars, stores, gyms, barbershops all closed down. In-person school comes to a halt. New terms are added to our language. Social distancing, distance learning. We all learned how to Zoom. Each day brings an update of cases and deaths, and we'll all wonder just how long will this thing last. Early in the pandemic, 12 News brings together the governor and state health leaders with the questions we all had. Spring can bring out the worst in Mississippi weather. On Easter Sunday, there was severe weather in the forecast. In the Pine Belt, about the time people would be sitting down to dinner, came the alert. The first tornado hit near Bassville in Walthall County, on the ground for 21 miles through 4 counties. But there was a second one right behind it 6 minutes later.
There's no doubt about it. There is a tornado that is on the ground.
Bassville, again, in the path of the second storm. Then through Seminary and Soso in Lamar County and beyond. The tornado kept going. More than 2 miles wide, the widest in state history. The tornado outbreak left whole towns devastated. Some homes swept right off their slabs. From storm damage to economic devastation, the pandemic forced millions of people out of work. The unemployment numbers, some of the highest ever seen in this country. State agencies overwhelmed, trying to keep up with the need for relief. While Washington worked to pump trillions of dollars in stimulus money into the economy. But a country under lockdown grows restless. Debate over which businesses should be open or closed leads to protests at state capitals. The argument appearing to fall along party lines. In Mississippi, the economy is back open. The number of COVID-19 cases falls. For a while, anyway. But another storm is brewing. The death of a black man at the hands of police in Minneapolis sparks a call to action in cities across the country. Black Lives Matter. 12 News hosted a town hall.
Would be, what are specific cases of institutionalized or systemic racism, and how do we counteract that? Because honestly, I can't think of that many, but I'm definitely open to hearing it.
Well, I will be 7 to 8 years old in 2 days, and I have seen a lot of different things happened and a lot of different things changed.
Demonstrations held from coast to coast. Protests led to violence in many places. In Mississippi, it led to change, the kind only seen once in a few generations. Since 1890, the Confederate battle emblem had adorned the Mississippi state flag. While some still argued it was a symbol of heritage, a growing number said it no longer reflected what Mississippi stood for and that it was holding Mississippi back. Most years, efforts to change the flag fell flat. But this was 2020. This was not most years. There are many voices calling for a change and pressure from all sides, and sometimes you just need a little push. And when the SEC speaks, many sports fans in Mississippi listen. So when the conference said it would ban all postseason play in the state as long as we held on to the Confederate battle flag as part of our state flag, the wheels of change moved faster. And when all of the state's coaches got together in the Capitol, you could feel the flag was finished. The votes were close, but in the end, the decision was the flag would come down and the people would get to choose the new one. The Confederate emblem no longer flies over Mississippi. It lies in a museum. The heat of summer brings a new surge of COVID-19 and something new for the state, a mask order. Mask up was the rule of the day. But what about school? It wouldn't be long until people were back in the classroom. Would there be football? The decision was left up to the districts. Jackson public schools went virtual, while many other schools brought kids back. In late summer, early fall, the heart of hurricane season, you sort of knew 2020 wouldn't disappoint. There were so many hurricanes we ran out of names and went into the Greek letters. Hurricane Delta would be the biggest one to hit the state. Remember, it's still an election year. Democrat Mike Espy hoping to unseat Republican Cindy Hyde-Smith. Nationally, there was a change in the White House, but Mississippi went red. Hyde-Smith winning by a larger margin than 2 years ago. The vote gave Mississippi two new things we'd never imagined, however: a new state flag with a magnolia flower and medical marijuana. But the virus so few of us knew about at the start of the year is the one thing we're all talking about at the end of the year. COVID-19 cases surged in November and December, but as we end the year, there's a sign of hope. 2 vaccines delivered, the first shots going into arms in Mississippi in December. The big question heading into New Year's is how long until we can get back to normal? And hopefully, that answer will come in 2021.